Come on, really? Are you kidding me? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god, really? What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining me today, because we're talking about Radical Heights. Now, everyone knew it was coming. PUBG and Fortnite are juggernauts, and of course we would start seeing the influx of Battle Royale games. So one of the big ones that have a lot of people's attention right now is Radical Heights. This game is made by Boss Key Productions, the Lawbreakers studio. Now, a little bit of background behind this game, I would almost compare it to Boss Key's Final Fantasy. They pretty much come out on record saying that obviously Lawbreakers didn't do well, and they need to make a game that is actually financially viable. So apparently with 5 months time and a lot of love and effort, they put together this game and they released it out to the public. Now, within its first 24 hours, it's already getting a lot of hate online. People are calling it Fortnite ripoffs, they're calling it an original. So let's go ahead and actually take a look at this game and see if it's really as bad as people are saying, or maybe, you know what, this game does have a little bit of potential. Before we get started, don't forget to click like and subscribe, hit the little ding dong bell, and if you want more content like this, just, leave a comment below as well. So anyways, let's get started. So the best way to sum up Radical Heights is basically 80s Battle Royale. The whole thing takes place within a TV show similar to Smash TV, where you run around, kill people, destroy things, and then you try to get cash and prizes and escape with your life. There's also BMX bikes, which if you ever played San Andreas, I instantly got flashbacks from when I saw that. Now let's start with the performance of the game itself. I know a lot of people are having frame rate issues. I was actually able to get over 60 frames per second. I remember I got 80 when I first started messing with settings. And then I got it down to 60 for my streaming purposes. I'm running a 1070 32 gigs of RAM with an i7 7700, so I know that has a lot to do with it. But for the people that are claiming that the game just doesn't run well at all, that's not true. It does need to be optimized heavily, but it's not pure garbage. Now, the game itself admittedly has quite a bit of jank. Weird clipping issues. When I was going prone, I somehow sunk into the ground one time, and I don't really know if that affected my hitbox or anything like that. And there's also the issue of the BMX bikes themselves, which basically act like the bikes from San Andreas, but with zero gravity on. It can make for some pretty hilarious moments, and I will say it's at least fun to kind of mess around in the warm-up area with that bike. While running around the map, you will also see a lot of unfinished buildings and just basically white boxes that are placeholders. The game's been out for 24 hours, so I don't really mind as much, but I know that there's quite a few people who will say that there's no excuse to even release something like that. But the parts that are finished actually looked really nice, and they actually fit the aesthetic really well. You're playing in a giant dome that is basically made just for this game show, and it shows. It fits the 80s theme, there's lots of bright colors, everything just works. I think the best way to describe the theme of the environments themselves and the way that it looks across the entire land, I would say that it's consistent and cohesive. With Fortnite, it felt like they started with just this blank slate and then they added points of interest here and there. And with PUBG, they were more worried about making something that looked like an actual city than something that played well. In my opinion, this is actually a pretty happy medium. With this type of map, they have room to grow. They can change it on a dime with the TV show theme, no problem. I actually really like the grid system in this game too. It reminds me a lot of the grid system in the actual Battle Royale movie. What's really nice about it is that you know what's going to be the danger zone starting out, so it takes a lot of the pressure out of starting with a bad drop due to RNG. The game also manages to be a little bit cheeky with this grid system too, because you'll be starting out and you'll look at the map and you'll have a giant smiley face looking at you, or a neat little spiral. It's things like this that once again bring you back to the TV show theme and just kind of get you in this fun mood once you start getting ready to kill people. And once you're on the ground, it gets crazy cranked up even higher with all the vending machines and like the spinning wheel that drops and the mystery prize box. A lot of these things come off as a really big risk and reward system. With the mystery prize box, you're sitting there on this platform, you hear this blaring prize music playing out while you have to wait this excruciatingly long time. Well, it's not that long, but it feels like an in-game. But the whole time this music is playing, that basically just sets off alarms for other people to know exactly where you are and then come and find you while you're a sitting duck, hoping that when those doors open, there's going to be a gun or something that you need in order to make it to the next grid. When you buy a gun, the gun pops out, you pick it up, and then out of nowhere you hear that little intro riff from the Danger Zone song. It's great, it's silly, it's kinda dumb, and I love it. A lot of people may say the presentation is cringe, but I really don't think it's that bad. If you've played something like Smash TV back in the day, this fits within that aesthetic, it still fits within that idea. I think the game show aesthetic works so well, not only because of the theme, but because of the fact that most game shows are really good at giving you that visual feedback of when you get lucky or when something good or bad happens to you. So they can kind of take those cues and apply it to this game, and it just brings you deeper into the actual fight itself. In certain ways, you almost feel like you are an actual contestant fighting for your life in this stupid game show. Another thing that they added that goes with the whole game show aesthetic that I actually find really interesting in terms of a risk-reward system is the cash system that they have in this game. It reminds me a lot of the system that they had set up for Escape for Tarkov. You can deposit and withdraw your money in-game via an ATM, and that can lead to some very interesting situations. Initially, when I started the game, whenever I had a little bit of extra cash and a few guns, I just deposited everything else into the bank. I was afraid of losing everything I had, and because of that, I started playing more defensively. After a few games, I realized that you don't really lose that much. If you have around $400 and you die, you're gonna lose less than $100 of it. So if you're only depositing $100 into the bank at a time, it's not worth it to put yourself at risk. It's just go keep fighting. Just go keep playing. That's what your big takeaway is. Now, on the flip side, your reward for winning is that any money that you have on hand is instantly doubled. When Twitch streamer Shroud was playing on release day, he had a moment where towards the end of the game, he ended up pulling out a whole bunch of cash. He made it to the final two, and he won the game. Essentially, what he did was he bet on himself, and he won. Now, people are saying that this is something that can be exploited, but you're betting on yourself. If you're cocky enough to think that you can pull out all your cash in the game, win, and just double your earnings, quadruple your earnings, or whatever, then by all means do that. But if you die, you lost everything. So people are saying that this is something that can be exploited. I don't think so, but we'll just have to see. And one last thing I do want to say about this cash system, though, is that they need to include some sort of reward for kills as well. The thing that kind of sucks about this is that you can literally get, third place in a game, 10 kills, absolutely just demolish it, but you only get, $50 because you didn't spend the time trying to pocket all that cash. I feel like they need to add some sort of reward for kills to kind of off-put that balance, or, just make it feel like you're actually not wasting your time by just focusing on kills. Now, the actual gunplay itself, it feels good. I don't know how else to describe it. It feels tighter than Fortnite, but it doesn't feel as restrictive as PUBG did at times. The best way I can describe it is that I aim down the sights, I point at the person, I click my mouse, and then they're dead. It still feels like it needs a little bit of refinement, obviously, but I mean, the foundation is there. There is something about it that's like a good mixture of Twitch gameplay, but at the same time, you gotta aim down your sights. You gotta take the time to line up your shot. It feels right to me. Once again, it feels like that really perfect balance between Fortnite's gameplay and PUBG's gameplay. I also gotta say, I really like the gadgets in this game as well. I think starting off, you have the trampoline, you have a noisemaker, and you have a decoy, which I can't even wait to see what type of moments people come up with the decoy, because that's just basically like some pure Metal Gear Solid type stuff right there. And for those of you that are really big into customization, it has a pretty interesting discovery system in regards to finding cosmetics. So while you're going through the game, while you're searching through buildings, you'll basically find blueprints or whatever you want to call it for new pieces of clothing. Once you make it to the end of the game, whether you get first place or not, that item now becomes purchasable within your in-game store. In my opinion, the prices are a little bit steep right now in comparison to the rewards output and the grind and all that stuff, but other than that, you know, it's not that bad. I know there was a mild little piece of controversy right out the gate when the Founders Pack included, I think, like, what, 10,000 gold and a 10% increase on all gold earned. First off, they removed all that. Founders Pack is just cosmetic items now, I believe. But what I wanted to add to that is the fact that, first off the bat, 10,000 gold, not that much. That will maybe last you, like, a couple games if you're using it directly for buying weapons once you drop in. It's something that you could probably grind out pretty easily within less than 3 hours. And another common thing that I hear in regards to why this game is going to fail is just because of the fact that Lawbreakers failed. The thing that kind of bugs me about this argument is the fact that most people will agree across the board that Lawbreakers wasn't a bad game. And in a lot of ways, it was actually a good game, and it actually did some really interesting things. It just flopped hard commercially. It wasn't like it was a No Man's Sky type of deal. It wasn't like it exactly didn't live up to the promises. It's just no one played it, you know? This one, despite the fact that it may have a little bit of a rough start, right out the gate though, you have people playing it, you have people talking about it, and you have people like me and Dr. Disrespect and Shroud defending this game saying, yo, there is something here. There is something to be said that could come out of this game. You know, a lot of the initial reaction to this reminds me to the reaction people had when Fortnite was first announced. I automatically, once I started playing the game, I knew something was there, I knew something was different, and I knew they had something special, but, you know, everyone was just talking about how it's just a PUBG clone, it's gonna die out, it's for kids, blah blah blah, and I mean, look where we are now. We are at the point now where people are saying that this is a Fortnite clone, and that this game is gonna get crushed by Fortnite, and that nothing's gonna overtake Fortnite. And this is all in the span of, like, what, 7 months? It's baffling how quickly everything has moved within this genre and with gaming as a whole, and people are acting like that this is something that's long been established. How are people gonna sit here and say, oh, there's too many Battle Royale games when there's 2 prominent ones, the rest are all just like barely there? There's room for this game. And I mean, like I said, me and a lot of other people realize that there is something that can be done with this game. They have the potential, they just need to take care of this game, they need to foster it, and they need to treat it right. They need to give it the love and attention that it needs, and they can have a viable competitor. In my opinion, this game is better than PUBG upon release, and it could be on the same par as Fortnite. Time will only tell, but you know what? I'm not wrong very often about these types of things. So let's just have a discussion down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you think that Radical Heights is going to be gone by the end of this year? Or do you think that it's going to rise up and overcome? And do you think it's going to be the next big competitor within the Battle Royale genre? Don't forget that you can also always find me on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, and Discord. So you can also tell me how wrong I am from there as well.